free to call the meeting to order. I do have a couple of agenda items. So whenever you're ready.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. And we'll start off with roll call.
Gail Linden.
Jill Ingber.
Adam Wallace.
Chris Gombieski.
Brandon Weinbaum.
David Schwartz.
April Seward.
Jules Olsman.
And I understand we have a little bit of a amendment to the agenda.
Yeah, I do want to, there's a couple things, but maybe you should do the approval of the minutes, and then we'll
Yeah.
we'll do that, and then we can go.
So approval of the minutes for November 24th, 2025.
So,
So moved.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, at this point in time, for the approval of the agenda, there are a couple things that we would have. We do have to add on the election of officers, we have to add a C, which will be for the zoning board of appeals liaison position that was previously held last year by yourself. So we will add that on, and that's open again to anybody. And then the only other thing that we have is that when it comes time for matter C, for the addition for the Abrams project, that's going to be asked to be tabled for till the following meeting so that we can get some more information. So you will need to have a motion for that as it comes.
Okay,
Okay?
okay. And approval for the agenda.
So moved.
Moved, second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And the election of officers, at this point, I've served as chair in the past year. I'm open to serve in any one of the officer positions again, but obviously we'll take nominations as well.
I move to have you stay as chair.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And for co-chair, do we have any nominations? Discussion?
Currently, Brandon is our vice chair.
You were.
I was currently the vice chair, but I think I'd like to share the wealth with someone else that's also on the panel, in the committee, if anyone is interested.
I'm happy and willing to serve.
Okay.
I move for Adam to be our vice chair.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And liaison to the ZBA. I did serve on that last year. I'm willing to do that again, but unless somebody else would like to do that as well.
Which days are the meetings?
What's that?
What days were the meetings?
Second Monday of the
Yeah.
month. These are always fourth Monday, those are always second Monday, unless they conflict with holidays or something else.
Unless you did.
I nominated Chris to stay with that also.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you to him. Okay. Moving on to number 6, matter of site plan review for 13332 Ludlow.
Mr. Chair, at this point in time, Mr. Ellenberg will go first. I did just want to point out that he's back here again after the November meeting with plans that have been significantly altered in order to comply with what the planning commission was looking for. I'll let him go first, and you have his explanations. With him is Zach Ostroff, the architect. So if there's any questions, I'm sure they could answer, but I'm happy to answer any others during the presentation.
Thanks, guys. So just a quick reminder, we had met a couple months ago and we had some work to do, so we tabled it, appreciate it. So we kind of reworked it, reimagined it, did a lot of updates and improvements per the recommendations of the committee and with a lot of guidance from Hank. Just a quick reminder of the project. We're going to do an exterior kind of facelift, cosmetic, just update everything. And then the second part of the project is a master bedroom in the back over an existing family room using the existing foundation. We were gonna add on to the porch. We took that out just so that we're not adding any footprint at all to the project, just to eliminate any footprint additions to the project. We made significant improvements. We've added the fiber cement siding. We added multiple windows, including on the main floor where we otherwise were not going to do work. We added several windows there, and then we enlarged several of our existing windows and added additional windows both in existing house and in the addition. In fact, the only place I think we didn't put windows are where we had the kitchen and cabinets where we absolutely couldn't. And that's kind of the project. So we, you know, as you can see in the plans, we took all the recommendations and then some. And with, like I said, a lot of guidance from Hank, we tried to make as many improvements as humanly possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. If you take a look and see what we have on the screen right now, and I'll go through all of this, but everything that's bubbled is changed. So you can see that they've added a considerable amount of fenestration. If you take a look at the east elevation, where it looks like where there's a dryer vent right there, it's actually a vent for a fireplace that's in the room, so they couldn't put any windows there. But on every other elevation, they've added a significant amount of windows. They're showing the full elevations, they're showing the downspouts down. The downspouts go front and back, not to the side. And if you take a look at that, there's an awful lot more fenestration than there was. So they've actually taken the Planning Commission's design guidelines and that to heart. If you take a look at the gable ends, you'll see now that they're using a different material, and they're using a shake on the gable ends as an accent, which also gives them a little bit more interest in the elevations, which is appreciated. It looked rather bland before with the slab siding going straight up and no division in between it, so we appreciate that. So what we're looking at right now is we're looking at a house that's 1.5 stories that it was, and now is going to be a 2-story house. We're looking at front yard of 31.3 feet. We're looking at the side yards, proposed 10.2, one side and 14.9, and actually so it's 4.9, so it's 14.9 total. The rear yard is proposed is 60, where 30 is required. We're looking at 30% lot coverage is 1950. And he's looking at 1908, so he's under the required lot coverage. The maximum house size, 2541 is what is allowed. 2695 is what this comes to. Disregard the 2723 because that didn't take into consideration the staircase, which we did remove from that. So your number for the proposed house is 2695. That's what it is. 2541, so he's asking for roughly 154 square foot variance, which is down significantly. That's almost half of what he was looking for the last time he was here. So those are the things to consider. The lot dimensions are roughly 50 by 130, 6,500 square feet on the lot, which is bigger than the 6250, which is the standard 50 by 125 lot. This lot is a little bit deeper. The house size, again, as proposed, is 2695. It's proposed as a colonial because they are putting a second story on it. Brick and siding is the materials that are on the house. And again, the garage is detached. Having said that, we are good to go with that. If there's any questions you have, I will point out that some of the nice features on this was the changing of the gable ends on that. That really brings something different to the equation. It takes out just the monotonous of the sides on that. And adding the additional fenestration really helps that. So the neighbors all around, while you may live in your house and you may not look out it, your neighbors look at it. So having that has architectural interest on all sides, and we appreciate what they've done with that. If there's any questions, I'm sure that David would be happy to answer them. And again, Zach Ostroff, the architect, is here, so if there's any questions, we're certainly free.
Open up, yeah.
Hank, in your allotment for square footage and bonus, it started with 1,900 and you added 150 for height, 150 for fenestration, 250 for architectural details, 100 for detached garage, and 41.6 for the size of the lot.
That is correct.
If you add those numbers all up, you have two different numbers in the paragraph and the line below.
The line below is.
Is 2591 is the correct number?
Yes, that is.
Okay, so the reality is that,
No, this is not, you have 600, it's 1,900 plus 600 is 25, plus 41 for the lot bonus, 2541.
So this is 2591.
it's 2591.6. I added them.
That's what it is with the .6, it's 41.6. You can't have, you can only get a maximum of 600 in the bonuses. You
Okay.
can't get over 600 in the bonus.
Gotcha.
So even if it adds up to 650, you don't get it, you get 6. So that
So-
brings it to 25 plus the 41.
So the 2541 is the maximum amount allowed, and you're saying that the 2695 is the size taking out the staircase?
That is correct.
And so then if you take away 2541 from it, okay, then you've got 154 square feet is what he's going to be requesting to go to
The zoning board.
the zoning board of
That
appeal
is
to go
correct.
over.
That is correct.
Okay, I just wanted to know what the square footage, I had three different numbers depending on whether it was 91
Yeah,
or
you can't have
41.
over six. The confusing part there was, and, David had the same
Same confusion.
is that you have a 600-foot cap on what you can get for
Okay.
architectural details. So that's where the missing 50 is.
Okay. Okay. And then the other question of you is, what is the size, you're not changing the front porch, what is the size of the front porch going to be? It doesn't have a dimension on the plan as to what it's going to be. It just says covered porch.
I think,
So sheet A2, it's a 6 by 21 foot floor.
and that's the current size, so we're just gonna redo it, we're gonna keep the
6
current
by 21.
size.
6 by 21.
Okay, okay. Because I know I had the old blueprints and
Yeah, it's,
your comment was you were going to make it all the way across.
yes,
So I
correct.
didn't think it went all the way across, but okay, 6 by 21.
Yeah, so we took that out just to not affect the footprint at all.
Had they gone all the way across, they would have needed a lot coverage variance.
Correct.
So- And that was another thing that they did in order to comply with that. They reduced the amount of variances they need by doing that and keeping everything the same. They don't have to go for that either. So again, that's another thing that we appreciate.
And is it still going to have a metal roof?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And the center gable, all that, we're just not going all the way,
Okay.
all the way out on
So
it.
it didn't change lot coverage? Okay, those were my,
Yeah, that was the goal, not to change lot coverage.
and again, the front page from your architect still has all of your houses on the block at 13328. If you look at your drawing on the first page, in the middle at 13332, and to the right, what was that?
That's the site plan.
I understand, but it's the same site plan that they sent without the address.
I see it, yeah.
So it confuses me, and I just want to make the correction. Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one question. On your A3 drawing, your existing dwelling wall, the only section on the lower part of the entire house that's not brick, is there a reason why?
That was been there, we could actually put brick in there, but that's been there since 1960. I don't know why they put that there, that's when they made,
It's called
oh,
out,
there.
verified, there's no brick ledge.
Yeah, it's a weird
That's the
look.
way it is, but that's
Where are we looking? I'm sorry.
A3.
Yeah,
drawing
which,
A3.
On the north
Click on the
elevation.
Existing dwelling.
oh, yeah.
I think that was put in the 60s at one point, that family room, and, yeah, I can never figure out why they did it like that either, but yeah.
As you looked at it,
Yeah,
This is the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Jill, did you have any?
No, I think it looks good. I mean, obviously, we can't make a recommendation on the variance, right? But I think, I wasn't here the first time you came around, but I appreciate the increased
you.
fenestration. Looks like you added a lot of windows there. I think it looks good.
I don't have any questions. Thanks.
At this point, we'll open up to public participation on this project. And we'll limit it to 3 minutes.
Okay, so I just wanted to remind you that the intent of the Planning Commission, one of the intents is to achieve innovative stormwater management solutions. And also remind you, and this is related to this project, you're supposed to be looking, a high priority on the master plan is providing stricter and more detailed regulations on managing stormwater runoff. And also, you're supposed to be figuring out a certain threshold of square footage added. I know they didn't expand their footprint, but still retention of first flush. And hopefully you're looking now at all of these projects in Google Maps aerial view. And this house sure looks like it's exceeded 50% rear lot coverage to me. And when you hear all these numbers spouted off about, under the 30%, 29.844, I have rarely seen you guys address rear lot coverage. And we had, what's his name, Brad Brickell come in and talk about the type of soil and all of that. And what I want to encourage you to see is like the house directly behind them has definitely exceeded 50% rear lot coverage. And the one next to it is really questionable. It looks like maybe they can answer, does their house, it looks like it has concrete behind their garage?
Ma'am, did you
So-
have any?
Yes,
About
I'm
this particular-
commenting about this
Okay,
project.
because you're talking about other properties that don't pertain to this.
Well, it's that, but all of this could flow in, you could have a stormwater problem right here where all of this combines. And so I don't hear any addressing of stormwater here tonight. You still don't know what your first flush storm event is unless you've figured it out. It's been on your high priority since April 28th of last year. I don't know what happened.
Again, do you have any further comments on this
Yeah.
particular property?
Yes, please address stormwater, because their rear downspouts are going to be dropping right onto that cement patio. So you have to consider what the first flush is, because that just sheets off all that concrete. So is there enough grass to maintain it? The whole idea of 50% rear lot coverage is supposedly this much green space can manage all of this runoff. So, to me, I think a stormwater management plan has to have some calculations, not just, oh, it looks good, or Brad didn't question it, and I will talk about Brad later in the next public comment. So, are you just going to approve it and not look at this? Why is there no questioning of the rear lot coverage? Why doesn't that have to be submitted at the time of the site plan?
Thank you. Any other public participation? Okay, we'll close public participation. Any further questions or discussion?
Hank, can I ask you? 50% rear lot coverage applies to when the ordinance was made going forward. Anything that was done before then, is it grandfathered in?
It would be, but the other part of that is too, is that they're not touching the backyard.
Correct, that's what I'm saying. We have houses that are bigger than the ordinance would allow them to be built on their lots now, and we're not going to make them take things off. So if the backyard with the garage and the patio was done before the ordinance came in at 50%, all you can do is ask them, or whatever else, but it's not getting them to take something off or pull out a patio in order to do that now, because they're not changing the footprint at all. They're not adding on to the first floor.
Do you know when it was put
Mr.
in?
Chair, this is not a debate.
Yeah. Any other? Okay. So at this point, we would be looking for a motion with an addendum with the ZBA for the additional square footage,
That's correct,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
if we were going to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve subject to ZBA granting the required
150,
No variance.
154.
154-foot variance.
154-foot variance.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, congratulations.
Thank you, guys, really appreciate it.
Would you like your plans?
Thanks.
I'll throw your old ones away.
So moving to the matter of site plan review for the addition at 25602 Parkwood.
Good evening.
Mr. Chair, as a way of brief introduction before Mr. Gittler takes over and explains this project briefly, I just want to point out that this one was coming to us originally in November. Too late for the November meeting. We didn't have a meeting in December, so it's here for this. In the meantime, there was a 3-month lapse. We did let them go to the zoning board of appeals, and they were granted a 12.88 lineal foot variance for the rear yard setback. One thing that I want to point out with this is that there already is buildings in the setback, and this addition is not anywhere closer to that lot line than the existing building by a lot. So the existing building actually has a small footprint that goes close to the property line of under 5 feet. That was built years and years ago. It's in the back garage. This is built onto the back of the house. So having said that, we'll let Mr. Gittler go ahead with his presentation, and I appreciate it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, appreciate it. Just want to start by saying we are looking to increase the house just for space for the family. Just is thinking as we're a growing family and allowing space for everyone in the home. The exterior will be, the addition that goes on the back of the house will match what the current house is. And on the interior side of it, looking to expand the kitchen, having more space in a living room that would flow together between those two areas, allowing also in that space some work done to add a bathroom on the main floor along with the powder room on the main floor as well. It will be 2 stories, so on the second story, adding on to what is currently the master bedroom upstairs, putting a bathroom up there for my wife and I, and then also for my kids, adding some closet space for my children. As I was made comment at the ZBA that some of those closets are really wide enough for us to walk into at this point for some of the work that's been done in the past. Also, with regards to the family, the bathroom upstairs will also be added on to, just to allow space for the kids and to have that bathroom upstairs. From the exterior, biggest thing that I've went back and forth and making sure for purposes of planning is to, from the front view, that none of the house and the addition will be visible from the front of the house. So nothing will be visible from the front with that addition will be moving forward. So I think those are the biggest things, but again, making sure everything matches what is currently shingles, and the vinyl siding will match as well.
Thank you. Hank, did you have anything?
Yes, hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Let me get this back up here. Okay, so we do have a couple things. First off, we've gone through extensive review with this particular project. And it's 25.5, so it's under the 26-foot height. Front yard setback, because it's an irregular shaped house on an irregular shaped lot. It may be the most irregular shaped house on the most irregular shaped lot in the entire city.
Thanks.
So Mr. Gittler had a challenge that he had to get taken care of with that. So what they did was is they put the addition in the most innocuous space that would be the least visible from that and still serve their needs. So you won't see it from the front of the house, even though the front is almost on a 45-degree angle from the side yard. So as you drive down the street and you drive down Ludlow, you're not going to see this addition. Also, on the original incarnation, you can see where it is here, and it's been brought down. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. No, it doesn't work on that. But you can see here where the roof used to be over the top of it. The current plan showed brought down to the level of that. So there won't be any peak or anything over the top that has that anymore. So that was a big thing that they brought down, so there's no little cone sticking up over from the front view of the house. And that was important, and that's why we wanted to show you this view. Other than that, this is really kind of a simple two-story addition in the back. There's areas, let me get to, let's see here. This right here. So can you see my cursor? Yeah. Okay. So let me see if you can see it this way. Okay, so here, this is the area of the house, this is the area of the addition. This is the area here where I was talking about that already exists, and that to the rear yard over here. So the concerns would be is, are you doing anything more to that than not? Even after this, you're still 20, let me see, I'm old and I can't see this stuff, but there still is less, there's like 28 feet between the corner of that addition and the rear yard, which is substantially longer. It's over 20 feet further away than the existing. So when you take a look at here, these are the closest areas to the neighboring lot. So the concern from the neighbor is, what are they going to take a look at with this? Because this is so askew on the property. So they're going to see, if you follow the cursor, they're going to see everything outside of the cursor, which is just this area here. So the way that they placed it actually does a lot for minimizing the impact on the neighbor as far as visually. And it also has the water that runs off of this. They're taking out this concrete slab. So all the water that was here is kind of headed this way here. So there's the biggest area. So any storm water or anything like that would be kept in this back area here. So having said that, let's take a look at this. This is the basement. This is the first floor, which this is the area here specifically. So it's a living room, bathroom area in through here. And while they're doing this stuff here is already in the existing footprint. This is the upstairs, which is over the foundation that is to be created. So again, it's modifying this to have bathrooms, closet space. There's a washer dryer up on that floor, which is separate. An additional bathroom for the other bedrooms so that the kids could have space in there. This is the roof plan, so this is the roof overlay here. This overlay, even though the addition starts here and goes like this in a rectangle, the overlay goes back to the door in order to tie in this plan that it ties in with the ridge and doesn't stick up over it. So this is what the elevation looks like when you see this from here. Where on the other one you saw the gable over the top of it, you do not see that here because it's been removed. And on the side, which is the east elevation, you can see how it now ties into that gable. So the reduction there has been made to meet our requirements. And you can see on the side here that there's got plenty of space in here and plenty of space for glass in this area. And then the same here, which is not, this is just the different, which is in the, this is the south. You've got two west elevations here, just so you know. So this is, one of these is incorrect, which is going to be, this one is labeled incorrectly. Okay. So having said that, if you go to this, they're 25.5 on that. Front yard is 48, which is off of the Parkwood side, because that's the platted front of the lot. The side yards required are minimum 5, total 14. The proposed is 17.1, 31.7 total. That allows a lot more space than you would normally have on that for water and that. The rear yard, 35 is what's required, 22.78 is what is approved. The variance has already been obtained for that. The lot coverage, which is 30% at 3,084 is what they're allowed. They're only taking up 22.19%, which is 2,278 square feet, which is significantly less than what the lot coverage allows, which will also help with any stormwater or anything like that. The house size is permitted to be by code 3,192 square feet and proposes 20. The house next to it, if you take a look at the comparisons to this, their lot is 10,281 square feet, which is also a substantial lot. The sad part about that is that even though it's a big lot, they have very little use of that land because of the way that it's laid out in the house. So most of that ends up being in a front yard, which is actually kind of a side yard, which is. So here's what they've done with this. The house next door has 7,150 square feet. This lot here checks out at 73 by 130 in the most irregular configuration you can get, but that's how Oakland County does it with averages in order to get an average lot size. You have the house size, which had 2870. The house next door is 1824. The house next door is a bungalow. This is kind of what we would call a bungalonial, which is actually it's actually a bungalow with an added on rear portion of it. 2 stories. It's a sided house, so there's no brick on it. And it has an attached garage, which was already there prior to the Gittler ownership. So, having said that, if you have any questions or anything like that, I'm happy to ask anything you have. And you also have the information with you. And I will go ahead and turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Would you like to start with any questions, Jules, or?
I don't have any questions.
Dale?
I just wanted to ask, the garage technically is attached to the building, but does not enter the house, correct?
The garage has a door that goes into the breezeway, which goes into the house.
Okay, because I'm looking at your doors, and I see a door in the front, and then behind the garage is another structure with a garage door that opens to the
The
yard.
back,
Is that one garage all the way through?
yes.
Okay, so it's open from the driveway portion all the way through and can drive into the back garage and could go out the back?
Very small vehicle.
Correct, but,
It gets
but in looking,
narrower in the
Yeah,
right, in looking at this or whatever else, it shows a wall, so that's why I'm just trying to
Okay.
understand that it goes through.
yes.
Okay, but I didn't see a door that goes into the breezeway space. I see a front door. That's all, that was my only question. Okay, thank you.
All right, now we'll open up the public participation, and we'll limit to 3 minutes. Thank you. And just state your name and address.
Sure. My name is Sarah Kirkwood, 12740 Ludlow Avenue, right next door to the Gittler. And I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak. I didn't get notice of this until Tuesday of last week, maybe the holiday weekend, so I haven't had much chance to look at this. Not an architect, not a builder. Hank was helpful enough to sit down with me this afternoon to take a look at things because I didn't have any information. I do have some concerns I want to raise and make sure I have the answers from the commission on what this looks like and maybe prompt questions. This house, Hank said it, I think Mr. Gittler said it too. It's a very unusual lot. It's a very unusual house. It's at an angle. And would you mind, Hank, would you put up that That,
Is that what you're
Yeah.
looking for?
yeah, that one. That's
Okay.
it. So my house is on the right of this, right? So that garage, back edge of that garage is about 5 feet off of my fence, the fence that separates our two properties. If I look outside my bedroom window, that's what I see, is right there. And so it's already super close. So the idea that it's not gonna get any further back than what is, this addition is not gonna get any further back than what's already there is a little problematic to me. I don't think we should compare to something that is already kind of intrusive. But I took, after I saw this, met with Hank this afternoon, I went to each of my three bedrooms in my house on the second floor and took a picture. And if you put an addition going out on the second floor, you're gonna be able to see right into those windows. So right now, because it's at an angle, a 45-degree angle, you kind of have to like look outside to see inside the window. And I actually took some pictures. I don't know if anyone is interested in seeing them. This is, my bedroom is the first, and then the next two are the second ones.
Mr. Chair, after the planning commission looks at those, I'll need those for
Sure.
the file.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Hank, I should have shown
It's
them to you
okay.
ahead of time. You can just sort of see that it's not the first floor that I would worry about, and that's where the garage is, right? The garage is, I'm used to it, I leave all the shades closed on the first floor, so we don't sort of see what's there. But it would be much harder on the second floor. The second bedroom only has one window, so it's kind of hard to leave that closed all the time. So I'm far more troubled by the second floor than I am about the idea of it to begin with, and how much it's going to infringe on it. There's not a lot of room back there. I'm also concerned, and I don't know the plan, I couldn't tell whether the deck is going to be replaced. So right now, the plan would suggest that this addition goes right where the deck is, or at least part of it. Yeah, I can't really tell for sure. But if that goes on even farther back, it takes up even more of the space. And so for me, it's a balance of need. I understand they've bought a beautiful house. I know they've done a lot of work on it. I appreciate that they're working on getting it more for their family. But I have to look at my own situation as well, my family, the value of the house. I'm worried about the drainage as well. Again, we're so close. I don't know whether that has been accounted for. I don't know the details. I think Hank said, he told me he thought it had been, and that wouldn't be a concern, but I am worried about that. So I wanted to raise those concerns and make sure that you had taken a look at that and considered it as you considered this. I did not get notice of the variance request, and so I didn't know that had already been granted. But again, to me, it matters far more about where the addition is made as opposed to that it is made. And so I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hank, can I ask a question in response
Yeah.
to that? On the issue of the back deck, I thought there was some discussion that they're not going to extend that, so there'd be more grass behind the addition to absorb any water runoff issue.
The concrete was coming out.
There's not a deck going on in the back of
Okay.
the addition.
Okay.
Yeah, and the concrete is coming out. Mhm.
Any further public participation?
So I'm just wondering, how does Mother Nature
Your
know?
name and address for the record.
Oh, Susan
You didn't do it the
Considine,
first time.
12727 Lisette. How does Mother Nature know when a storm hits, remember your first flush event that you need to figure out, that this is a pie-shaped lot? Because right now, I know water tends to go this way, so how does it know that it needs to go into a point? Are there swales put on the side? Again, a stormwater management plan should have some data points, should have some measurements. I see they put the roof line in. So there should be some calculations. This is going to produce this much stormwater in this much of a storm event. And I don't know if you guys just do it by looks, like, yeah, it looks like enough grass. I don't know. I don't see it. I've been told at my house that all the water was mine, even though I've got way more grass than the person behind me. So I just don't see that. When the ground is frozen, and I know I drove by, and that garage is very close to your house. I looked at the downspouts, and they do have downspouts, and so I'm hoping, because you guys the city makes a big deal about which way they're turned versus where the water's flowing. And so I know that I don't know what the way this house, that northeast corner, I don't see a downspout, and maybe that's because that extension is taking, but there's a little section that runs off from the large roof. I didn't see one. So I just want to know, how does Mother Nature know this is a pie-shaped lot? And also, I just want to finish, this is related to this one, and what you brought up before, this grandfathered in. Please get Matt Zalewski, the city attorney, to come and give you a presentation on that, because, okay, so maybe somebody slipped by with a bigger patio and poured it without a permit. I don't know if that can get grandfathered in, but 6-59, you cannot run water. You got a big house, that's fine. You got that to slip by, but you cannot run water onto your neighbor's property. And I think the city, I'm hoping with this master plan, is that you're going to be proactive about water and stormwater management. It's your high priority item. You're 9 months into a high priority item. I don't know what happened again in 24 and 23 after the master plan was approved. But I'd like to know how Mother Nature's going to know it's a pie-shaped lot and where that water's going to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public participation? Okay. Close public participation. Any further questions or comments from the commission?
I don't know if this is more of a question for Hank. With the neighbor not being notified of the ZBA meeting, how does that impact us or?
They're on the list, that the notice did go out.
Okay.
Their address is on it. Whether or not they got it, once it leaves this building, I can't comment.
Understood.
Well, the notice is mailed or dropped off?
No, they're mailed.
Can I just ask a follow-up question to that, though? Is the variance request doesn't have anything about the site plan, right? So you don't
Correct.
necessarily know what if you were asking for.
No, there would be a survey, and the survey would dictate what you need to ask. That's what, when I showed you this afternoon,
Okay.
I showed you the line,
Yeah.
that's where it would normally have to be, and when I showed you that part of it, that's the part that's in the variance request area.
Okay, but without an understanding of the site plan, you don't know what part of it is going to be where. Because that's, of course, my biggest concern is what exactly where and what, at what elevation, second story kind of thing. I don't know whether other neighbors did or didn't do it, or if you're as a neighbor. But anyway, I'm trying to educate myself along the way. Thank you.
In your department's opinion, Hank, at this point with this addition, with the subtraction of that concrete patio, is there any concerns from your department of water?
There's always a concern about water, regardless of whether, no matter who says what about what. But I will point out that the edge is 664.5 on proposed, and that's the corner of the addition. And it's 664.4. That is 1/10 of 22.78 feet. So if you took like a bucket of water, or you took a rain or whatever it is, it typically would not even get there. Going to the other way, which is in the back, if you take a look at the elevation of the house, you'll see that it's 664.3 in that back corner, which means that from 664.5 to 664.3 in that corner, there's a fall of 2/10. Okay, so the likelihood of that happening is not great. Doesn't mean it can't, but it means that the way the contour of the land is, it lends itself favorably for it not to happen. 664.6 is on the other neighbor's side. That's higher, so the water won't flow uphill to get that. And again, 664.5 is even on the other side, so that's what it is. Where the corner of the house is, 664.7. And then on the other side of the corner of the house that's a neighbor's house, 664.8, so that's higher on the neighbor's house. 665.3 on the other corner of the neighbor's house there. That shows that that's not going to be, that area over there is higher than that. So taking a look at the other house at 12740, the corner of the house is 664.1. So that is lower than that, but the water would have to go around the garage and over there to get to that property. So the likelihood of anything impacting this with water, again, understanding that we have some torrential rains that may change things, is not great. And again, as you know, with additions, we do not send them to Nowak and Kraus.
Only the new builds, right?
Only the new builds at this point.
There's no neighbor for any reason.
And this does not require, because we already did the variance with the ZBA. Does not require
That is correct.
as well. As well.
And a question, the generator and the air conditioner are already in and are staying in the same placement, correct? Okay.
And one last question. When the concrete slab is removed, you're going to put grass in place of that?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's worth noting too, there's also an existing, wood deck that's there now. So there's gonna be grass where that is, I assume. So the addition itself is not, extending beyond where that wood deck was, and now we're getting rid of the concrete slab.
It looks bigger than it is.
What does?
The footprint of the addition.
Yeah.
But it's the second floor, right? I mean, the footprint isn't any different, but if you look outside from my house, you can see right into those windows. That's what matters a whole lot to me. And I know it doesn't, not gonna show from the street, and that's great, but it's, we're benefiting their family, but as a detriment to them. And that's frustrating. And it's a variance that's being requested, now, as opposed to what's already there, because you wouldn't be able to build this house as it is right now. I believe it's an odd lot. It's a cool house. It's an odd lot.
And I have to say, I don't believe there are too many homes in Huntington Woods where you can't look out a window and see into a neighbor's house. My kitchen looks right into my next door neighbor's den, and I'm only at my kitchen sink long enough to do my dishes and get out of there, so I'm not looking at them and they're not looking at me. And the same held true in second-story bedroom windows. It's just the nature of, we only have in general 5 feet on one side and 9 feet on the other, and you could have 14 feet between the two of you, but it doesn't mean your windows aren't going to allow view.
Of course, and I get that, but this is a variance beyond it, and we're at an angle, right? So the angle actually gives a better view straight in than it might otherwise. But you're right, I mean, I'm not trying to put mine ahead of somebody else's, I'm trying to make them even. And this is a variance that's being requested now on what is already a very large, nice house.
Well, and to be clear, the variance has already been approved by the ZBA. So we are just approving the plans themselves.
But the second story, right?
Right.
Right.
And it's not how many feet off, because that's where the garage is, without a doubt. That's where the garage extends back. But that's a one-story garage, and now we're talking about a second story that we will absolutely be able to see right into. And it's different from what it was, right? And look, I mean, if you want to change I'm not specifically talking about water, but if you want to change the zoning laws, change the zoning laws and make the variances different and make it 25 feet instead of 35 feet. I'm not saying you should do that or not, but we should be able to rely on what's there. And did you want to interrupt me? It looked like you...
I don't think you can rely on what's there. You have to be open to change, and it can happen anywhere.
I should be able to rely on what's written in the
you're relying on the fact that it's on the first floor, and it doesn't mean that it can't go up. You know, I mean, there's something called window treatments, that you're not gonna see necessarily into his bedroom up
It's
there.
my bathroom, I will
Or
not.
my
have it open.
his bathroom if he has window treatments. You know, or maybe he ends up having a frosted window. He may be listening to what you're saying and will frost a window, but he has a right to try to do something in the space that he's got and not necessarily impose upon your space, and it's in his.
His rights and where mine begin, right? And that's what this is all about, is deciding where those are sitting. And what you suggest to me is that I am not, I shouldn't be allowed to make this objection.
No, I'm not saying you can't make the objection. We're hearing your objection.
Well, I mean, that's what you're saying. Why you shouldn't have to, you have window shades, they have window shades. I mean, that's not really fair.
Mr. Chair, just for clarification, this can't be a debate. It's
Right.
public
Yeah,
comment.
you're right, you're right.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions, comments from the commission?
Mr. Chair, just for a point of clarification, the addition, the house, whatever, can be up to 26 feet tall and still meet the criteria for any bonuses.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
Would you like your plans?
Sure.
Mr. Chair, at this point, just to point out that the Abrams plan, we would ask for a table on that, just because it wasn't complete. So as a result, Mr. Gordon, who's the architect on that, they've been notified that we would just be tabling it to the next meeting, and they're fine with that, so that we can get some clarification and get everything we need.
So motion to table into our next meeting, which will be in February?
That is correct.
I'll make a motion to table item 6C on the agenda to the February meeting.
Second?
Second. And all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, I need to vacate, so, thank you.
Have a good night.
Mr. Chair, let the record show that Mr. Schwartz is excused at 7:52. The only other thing that I have, I just wanted to point out that the city attorney did not have the information ready for us for this evening, which is why the water study was tabled for this. So having said that, thank you very much. So having said that, that'll be expected to be back at the next meeting. Also, at the next meeting, we'll have a date for the annual ZBA Planning Commission meeting, where the two boards get together. We'll have a date set up for that. We'll be sending out a survey, as we're going to have business for that, so it'll be an additional meeting, so that we can do that. And that will go out to the survey, a separate survey, and we'll try to pick some days when we can at least have a forum, because it's done as the planning commission is the host for that.
Okay.
So other than that, the only other thing that we have, Mr. Chair, is public participation.
Okay.
And I have nothing else.
Okay, we'll open up the public participation, limit to 3 minutes. State your name and address, please.
Susan Considine again, 12727 LaSalle. I just wanted to bring to your attention a few months back, I know you were Commissioner Linda made the motion to approve a house on Kingston, contingent with the contingency that they address stormwater. And so I did get this information. I wanted to point out, Noack and Frous, they stamped it on behalf of the city of Madison Heights. I'm hoping that we get some more attention to detail from Noack and Frous. I have the report that they did. And again, addressing stormwater, here's what they say. Show proposed swales along property lines. Rear yard may be seasonally wet due to lack of stormwater. All downspouts shall be directed toward a proposed swale, hard surface and/or landscape. And then it's, oh, you can't send water to your neighbor. Well, I've been asked sarcastically if I'm an engineer, and I'm not. And as far as I know, we don't have any engineers on staff. That's why we hire Brad Brickle. And can't we get some more detailed stormwater analysis? There should be an actual analysis of, how much square footage is going to displace water? What is your first flush event? Hopefully you guys are going to come up with that again. I'm sorry, I keep hammering that tonight. And this should be addressed. And then also remember this house came up, they had no downspouts on their plan. How those even get to you, those plans get to you for review without downspouts, I don't know. To me, that shows a lack of seriousness about stormwater. And so now how they're handling it is they're dropping their downspouts, I think. It doesn't show which way they're turned. And I think for historical reference in the future, if there's a problem, it should be clearly marked which way they're turned. I was grateful to see quite a few of the plans tonight actually showed which way the downspout was turned. I'm assuming now that that's based on you think that's the best way the water should flow. I don't know. But so, again, now this house is dropping all their garage water, which is set at the rear setback, onto their driveway to run it to the street. So again, I'm encouraging Huntington Woods to set up some system to encourage people to manage some water in the back of their rear yard. Because if everybody, hey, next time I get my driveway report, I'll say, get as much of my garage water to the back too, or to the street. And we know there's some streets that get overloaded with water every time it rains. And I know Kevin Wayne said, he'd prefer people to manage as much of their rear of property stormwater in their own yard. And we've got people who are dropping their downspouts onto the driveway, their house downspouts too. So currently, I'm not seeing any evidence that you do any measurement of how much water is being managed in the backyard versus
30
being
seconds,
thrown
ma'am.
into the city sewer. So hopefully, like Hank said, you're going to be taking stormwater seriously and things will be worked out. But I think we need to rely on Noack and Fraus to do some calculations. That pie-shaped lot you guys just approved, I don't know if you saw, as you get toward the point, there were no grade readings for the next door neighbors. So hopefully Mother Nature's going to go, oh, okay, it's a point. We'll just whoop whoop whoop. You guys, I don't know, you missed it. That's supposed to be on a site plan. The neighbors' measurements, grade readings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other public participation, we'll close public participation and look for a
Motion to
adjourn.
Second?
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
You want us to keep our plans for February?
Yes, please. Keep the plane parade.